Hi! Today we have a Kia Ceed with a 1.6 CRD engine. I'm going to show you how to change the clutch. The problem is with this vehicle, you can engage in gear, but the vehicle is not moving, so this means that clutch something is happened to it, and that's why it's not transferring the power from the engine to the transmission. So I'm going to start by removing this air duct to the air filter. Also I'm going to remove the whole air filter housing. As you can notice, I have already removed the battery because the ECU is tightened on the air filter housing. I'm going to disconnect these two connectors, and I'm going to remove the air filter housing together with the ECU. They are holding two bolts. One we have here with 10mm wrench, and one we have here also with 10mm wrench. Of the air duct we have two bolts also with 10mm wrench. I'm going to disconnect the muff sensor, and also with 10mm wrench I'm going to open this metal bracket so I can disconnect the air filter from the hose. So now we have more access to the transmission. Next I'm going to remove the battery stand. The battery stand are holding 4 bolts with 12mm wrench. Next I'm going to disconnect the reverse light switch. Also I'm going to disconnect the speedometer, and I'm going to remove these pins so I can disconnect the gear shift cables. And also at the back here I have disconnected the gear shift cables. I have used some penetrating oil, and all you have to do is to twist them, turn them a little, and then pull them up. That's how I remove them. So next I'm going to open these 3 bolts with 12mm wrench, and I'm going to disconnect the wiring cable here at the sensor. I have removed the metal bracket. So next I'm going to open this bolt with 10mm wrench. That one is from the crankshaft position sensor, because there is a possibility to damage it while removing the transmission. That's why I'm going to remove the crankshaft position sensor. I have removed the crankshaft position sensor. Next I'm going to open this metal bracket with 12mm wrench, and I'm going to disconnect this switch. This one is probably for the neutral speed, so the ECU knows that if the transmission is engaged in gear or not. And after that I'm going to remove the slave clutch pump, slave cylinder. I have removed the bolt from this metal bracket. Also I have disconnected the grounding point. It was here, also with 12mm wrench. So now I'm going to open the one bolt of the slave cylinder with 14mm wrench, because the other one is can be opened from the lower side of the engine, and that bolt is on this side. We can see it from here. And also I'm going to open this metal bracket, also with 14mm wrench. That one is from the starter. Next I'm going to remove these two bolts with a 17mm wrench. They are holding the transmission with the engine. Next I have removed the front wheels, so now I'm going to raise the vehicle. If raise the vehicle, so next I'm going to remove this plastic cover under the engine. So now you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts with 10mm wrench. After removing the plastic cover, I realized that I have to lower the front end support. So next I'm going to lower the vehicle and disconnect the steering rack inside the vehicle. And after that I'm going to lower the entire front end support. So I'm going to open these nuts of the lower ball joints. They can be opened with 17mm wrench. Also I have to open from the steering rack. They can be opened also with 17mm wrench. I have to open the nuts from the stabilizer link. They can be opened with 19mm wrench. Also I have to disconnect this rubber mount from the exhaust. So here we have one nut, one bolt with 14mm wrench, and the bigger nut is probably with 19mm wrench. It's the same procedure on this side, and at the front we have one bolt here, one bolt on this side. These are also with 19mm wrench, I think. So first to lower the vehicle and disconnect the steering rack. If lowered the vehicle, always before disconnecting the steering rack, make sure that the wheels are straight, because later you don't want to turn the steering wheel, otherwise you can damage the flat cable behind the steering wheel. And here we have one bolt with 12mm wrench. So I'm going to turn just a little so I can open the bolt, and when I open the bolt I'm going to return the steering wheel in right position, and after that I'm going to disconnect this joint. Now before removing all the way up this joint, I suggest you to mark it here, because this can be installed in every teeth on the steering rack. So even if it moves just a little the steering rack and the steering wheel is not going to be aligned. So I have made marking. So after that, when I install, I have to install it like this. If I move it one teeth, you can see it's going to be very different. So next time moving down, I'm going to raise the vehicle again, and I'm going to remove the front end support. First I'm going to open these nuts of the TV joints. I have removed the security pin first, and after that with 32mm wrench I'm going to open these nuts on this side and on the other side. I have removed the nuts from the CV joints. Also I have opened the two nuts on this side and on the other side of the stabilizer links with 19mm wrench. Next I'm going to disconnect the lower ball joint. I have loosened the nuts with 17mm wrench of the lower ball joints. I'm not removing all the way. First I'm going to lower the subframe a little, and after that I'm going to remove them. It's going to be much more easier. Next I'm going to remove these bolts of the steering rack ball joints. They are also with 17mm wrench. The brake caliper is little on the way, but I think I can open them without removing the brake caliper. I have disconnected the ball joints from the steering rack. Next I'm going to open these bolts from the transmission mountings. They can be opened with 14mm wrench. So you have to turn on one side and hold on the other side. We have two, one at the front and one at the back. They are both with 14mm wrench. I have removed the bolts. Also I have disconnected the rubber mount of the exhaust. And as you can notice, I have support the subframe with hydraulic jack. So next I'm going to open the nuts with 19mm wrench and this nut and bolt with 14mm wrench. And also next I'm going to open these two bolts with 19mm wrench at the front. Next I'm going to remove these two bolts and I'm going to lower the entire subframe. I have removed the subframe. Next I have opened the plug with 17mm wrench. So I'm going to drain the oil, and after that I can remove the drive shafts. I have removed the drive shafts. They are very easy to remove them from the transmission. Just pull them and they will go out. Next I'm going to open these two bolts with 12mm wrench. They are holding the slave cylinder or clutch pump. Previously I made a small mistake. I was thinking that the upper bolt and there is a bolt on this side, but now it turns out to be something different. So I'm going to open these two bolts, and after that I'm going to open with 14mm wrench 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. They are holding the transmission with the engine. I have opened the two bolts of the clutch pump. I'll remove the bolts that hold the transmission with the engine. This one is only loose. I'm going to remove it later. So now I'm going to lower the vehicle. I have to support the engine, and I'm going to remove the transmission mounting. I have lowered the vehicle. So now I can remove the clutch pump on this side, so it's not interfere when I remove the transmission, like this. And also I have supported the engine. I had to remove this oil evaporator hose, and there are two bolts that hold this plastic for the wires, and I have installed the engine support tool. Next I'm going to open these two bolts with 17mm wrench, and after that I'm going to lower the transmission with the engine so I can remove this metal mounting. There are 4 bolts also with 17mm wrench. I have lowered the transmission, so now I think there is enough space for the transmission to pass the chassis. I'm going to raise the vehicle and I'm going to support the transmission so I can remove it. The transmission is supported with the hydraulic jack. I have noticed that I have to remove this plastic cover. There are 1, 2, 3 bolts with 10mm wrench, and also I have realized that this metal mounting should be removed because it's going to be stuck in this hose here. So there are 2 bolts with 17mm wrench. Also, I just realized that there is a bolt here behind this metal cover, so I have removed these 2 bolts with 10mm wrench, and there is 1 bolt with 14mm wrench that is holding the engine with the transmission. And the transmission is removed, so I can see some particles here, something is broken inside. So I'm going to open all these bolts with 10mm wrench. There are 9 total. So I have removed the clutch pressure plate and clutch disc. Now you can see that inside here everything is damaged, even this is turning freely. That's why the vehicle wasn't moving anywhere. Also we can notice that on this side is almost on the pins. So I'm going to install new clutch disc, clutch pressure plate and new clutch release bearing. I have them here. Here is the, let me show you the part number. So first I'm going to install the clutch pressure plate and clutch disc, tighten it all 9 bolts with 10mm wrench. I have removed the fork that is pressing the clutch release bearing. I have to put some grease here on the pin where it slides, and also after that I can install the new clutch release bearing. I have used some compressed air to clean this area inside from the particles. Everything is in place, so now I can return the transmission back in the vehicle. The transmission went in very smoothly, and also I have installed the 5 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts with 14mm wrench. I have tightened them, so now I can install the metal cover here, and I can remove the jack stand, and also I can lower the vehicle to connect the transmission mounting. I have lowered the vehicle, installed the transmission mounting, 4 bolts with 17mm wrench, 2 bolts with 17mm wrench. Also I have installed this bolt, 2 bolts that hold the transmission with the engine. They are also with 17mm wrench. So now I'm going to lower the clutch pump here. I can tighten it that later from the lower side of the vehicle. Now I can raise the vehicle again, and I can start installing the clutch pump, the transmission mount, and after that I can install the whole subframe. I have installed the clutch pump, 2 bolts with 12mm wrench, and also the transmission mount, 2 bolts with 17mm wrench. Now I'm going to install the drive shafts. I have installed the drive shafts. So next I can install the subframe. I have installed the subframe. First I have tightened 4 bolts with 19mm wrench, the main bolts that hold the subframe. After that I have tightened the nuts from the lower ball joints, then from the steering rack with 17mm wrench, stabilizer links with 19mm wrench, these 2 bolts that hold the metal plate with 14mm wrench. I have installed the rubber mount for the exhaust, installed the 2 bolts of the transmission mountings with 14mm wrench. So now I just have to install the plastic cover here, 3 bolts with 10mm wrench, and after that I'm going to lower the vehicle and install the parts from the top side of the transmission. I have installed the lower plastic cover, 7 bolts with 10mm wrench, also this side plastic cover. Now I'm lowering the vehicle. I have tightened the center bolt with 32mm wrench, installed the pins. After that I have installed the wheels. Now the vehicle is on the ground. And first I'm going to install the crankshaft position sensor. There it is. There is one bolt with 10mm wrench. Next I'm going to refill the transmission with oil. Now this is the breather, and the easiest way to refill it is if I remove this reverse light switch, and from there I can refill the transmission. The transmission should be refilled with 2 liters of oil, and this transmission uses 7590. I tried to loosen the reverse light switch, but it was too tightened. On this side here we have a plug. I have already removed it. Now you can see the hole. From there we can refill the transmission, and it's also like a fuel oil level. So when it starts to leak from here, this means that the transmission is full. But according to the manual, there should be 2 liters of oil inside. I have installed the plug, tighten it with 17mm wrench. So next I'm going to install the mounting for the gear shift cables. I have installed the metal holder, 3 bolts with 12mm wrench. Also I have connected the wire from the vehicle speed sensor. I have installed 1 bolt here at the bracket that is holding the hose of the clutch slave cylinder with 12mm wrench. Connected the neutral switch. Also I have installed the 2 bolts of the starter, tightened them with 14mm wrench. Now I'm going to connect the gear shift cables. You have installed the gear shift cables, put the R pins, connected the reverse light switch, connected the vehicle speed sensor. Next I'm going to install the battery stand. I have installed the battery stand, 4 bolts with 12 mm wrench. Next I'm going to install the air filter housing. I have installed the air filter housing, connected the ECU, tightened 2 bolts with 10 mm wrench, connected the air meter, tightened the hose of the air meter. Also I almost forgot the grounding point on the transmission. Don't forget it, because if you forget the vehicle it's not going to crank. I have connected the oil evaporator hose, tightened the 2 bolts that hold the plastic for the wires. So now I just have to install the air duct for the air filter. I am finished at the engine bay, so next I'm going to connect the steering wheel inside the vehicle. Now you can see that the steering wheel is straight, the wheels are straight, and also we have alignment of the marking that we previously did when we removed the steering wheel. So now I'm going to push this all the way in, and I'm going to install the bolt and tighten it with 12 mm wrench. I have installed the battery, so now I can start the engine. Now the clutch pedal is very easy to press, previously it was very hard. Gears are working. Okay, the car is trying to move. Everything is looking good, so this means that I am finished. If you like to see more videos, please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and thank you for watching.